If you're trying to understand how NFL betting works in 2026 using a sportsbook like BetRivers, the first thing you need to understand is that this isn't just about picking winners or guessing scores. It's a structured system built around odds, probability, and risk management. And once you understand the logic behind it, everything starts to make a lot more sense. Before anything else, it's important to be clear about one thing. Sports betting is restricted to adults in most regions, usually 21 and above depending on your location, and it is heavily regulated. So everything you hear here is purely educational, explaining how the system works so you can understand it clearly, not encouraging anyone to rush into placing wagers without knowing the rules, the risks, and the legal requirements in their area. Now, when you open a platform like BetRivers, you're essentially looking at an online marketplace for sports predictions. The platform is run by licensed operators and it provides odds for every NFL game, from the preseason matchups to the regular season and playoffs. These odds are not random. They're calculated using data like team performance, injuries, weather conditions, historical matchups, and even betting trends from other users. To access the platform, users typically go to the official site at www.betrivers.com/UTM_source=chatgpt.com, where they can view all available sports markets. Once inside, the NFL section becomes your main focus if you're looking at football games. There, you'll see upcoming matchups such as point spreads, money lines, totals, and sometimes even player-based bets. Let's break this down in a way that makes sense. The money line is the simplest form of NFL betting. It basically asks one question: which team will win the game outright? Each team is assigned odds based on their chances. A strong team might have lower odds, meaning you win less if they win, while an underdog has higher odds, meaning a bigger payout if they pull off the upset. This is the most straightforward entry point for beginners because there are no extra conditions. Just pick the winner. Then you have the point spread, which is where things become a bit more strategic. Instead of just picking a winner, the sportsbook adds a virtual handicap to balance the matchup. So if a strong team is expected to win comfortably, they might be listed as -6.5, meaning they must win by more than 6 points for a bet on them to be successful. The underdog, on the other hand, gets the +6.5 advantage, meaning they can either win outright or lose by fewer than 7 points for the bet to succeed. Totals, also called over/under, focus on the combined score of both teams. Instead of picking who wins, you're predicting whether the total points scored in the game will be over or under a number set by the sportsbook. For example, if the total is set at 45.5, you're deciding whether both teams together will score more or less than that number. This type of betting is popular because it doesn't require picking a winner, just predicting the flow of the game. Inside platforms like BetRivers, you'll also see more advanced options like parlays, live betting, and prop bets. Parlays combine multiple selections into one single wager. The appeal is that the payout increases significantly if all your picks are correct. But the risk also increases because if one pick fails, the entire bet loses. This is where many beginners get excited, but it's also where many lose money quickly, because it looks easier than it actually is. Live betting is another major feature. This allows you to place bets while the NFL game is already happening. The odds change in real time, depending on what is happening on the field. If a team scores early, the odds shift immediately. If a key player gets injured, the lines adjust again. This creates a fast-moving environment that feels more dynamic, but also requires quick thinking and strong discipline. Player props are another interesting category. Instead of betting on the team outcome, you can bet on individual player performance. For example, whether a quarterback will throw over a certain number of yards, or whether a running back will score a touchdown. These bets are heavily influenced by matchups, game plans, and coaching strategies. Now, to understand how someone actually uses a platform like BetRivers in a practical sense, think of it as a step-by-step flow that starts with information and ends with a decision. First, you analyse the upcoming NFL schedule. You look at which teams are playing, their recent performance, injury reports, and overall form. Then you go into the sportsbook interface and compare the odds offered for each type of bet. What makes sportsbooks like BetRivers interesting is that they don't just present random numbers. The odds are constantly updated based on betting activity and new information. So if a large number of users start betting on one team, the odds may shift slightly to balance the risk for the sportsbook. At the same time, it's important to understand that sportsbooks are businesses designed to maintain a margin. This means the odds are structured in a way that gives the platform a long-term advantage. That's why experienced bettors focus heavily on analysis rather than emotion. They don't just bet on their favourite team, they look for value, meaning situations where the odds might not fully reflect what could realistically happen in the game. Another important aspect is bankroll management. This is simply the idea of controlling how much money is risked over time. Instead of placing large, emotional bets on a single game, experienced users typically spread smaller amounts across multiple opportunities. This reduces the risk of losing everything quickly and helps maintain consistency over time. As you navigate through BetRivers, you'll notice that the interface is designed to be simple. You select the NFL section, choose a game, pick your market type, and review the odds. Once a selection is made, it is added to a bet slip, which acts like a shopping cart. From there, users decide how much they want to stake and confirm the wager. But again, it's crucial to understand that betting should always be approached carefully. Even though it may look like a game of predictions, it involves real financial risk. No outcome is guaranteed, and even strong favourites lose games frequently in the NFL because of the league's competitive nature. One of the reasons NFL betting is so popular is because of how unpredictable football can be. A single turnover, a missed field goal, or a last-minute touchdown can completely change the result of a bet. That unpredictability is part of what makes it exciting, but it is also what makes it risky. Over time, many users start to realize that successful betting is less about luck and more about discipline, research, and emotional control. The most consistent approach is not chasing big wins, but understanding probabilities and making calculated decisions. So when you hear about platforms like BetRivers, think of them less as places to get rich quick and more as structured systems where sports predictions are turned into financial markets. Everything is based on probability models, user behavior, and statistical analysis. And finally, if you ever explore this space in real life, the most important thing to remember is responsibility. Set limits, understand the risks, and never treat it as guaranteed income. The NFL is unpredictable, and that's exactly why sportsbooks exist in the first place. At the end of the day, understanding how betting works gives you insight into how odds are built, how games are evaluated, and how the entire ecosystem operates behind the scenes. Whether you ever place a bet or not, knowing how it works gives you a clearer picture of modern sports entertainment, especially in a data-driven era like 2026.